Today's been a good day. How about for you? Well, today is actually my wife's birthday, and we treated ourselves by going out to lunch. We very, very seldom go out to lunch. Usually just one restaurant after our Toastmasters meeting Thursday. But today we went out, we splashed, we went to a really nice Thai restaurant. Food was excellent, and well, we had a good time. And now my wife is actually talking to one of her friends in the Netherlands, somebody we've known for years and years. And she's had all these phone calls, FaceTime calls, WhatsApp video calls, you name it. They've been coming in. So it's been a pretty busy day. So there you are. Not that that's got anything to do with today's reading, or maybe it does because everything is interconnected, right? So let's just get on with it. The first quote, I didn't need to look up the author of the first quote because it's somebody I think all of you know, somebody who's actually from Houston, Texas. Her name is Brené Brown, and I'm sure if you've not heard of her, I'd be very surprised. So if not, look her up, B-R-E-N-E with an acute accent on it, Brené Brown, just like the color. She says, the difficult thing is that vulnerability is the first thing I look for in you and the last thing I'm willing to show you. In you, it's courage and daring. In me, it's weakness. And of course, she's talking about how we perceive vulnerability. That to us, it's a weakness, but when you do it, it's bravery. So yeah, I can see that. Ernest Holmes says, if we combined ourselves together reverently, in love and compassion, in mutual tolerance and understanding, under the cohesive powers of the universal law of good and the beneficence of a divine and universal presence, then we shall be able to lead the world down the pathway of a new enlightenment. And behind all that, of course, is the fact that we're all interconnected. I was on our Philosophy Friday Zoom call yesterday evening, and something similar came up about how we're all one. And in a sense, there's only one. And it just has lots and lots of different ways of appearing. So you might say it's like the ocean. The ocean is one ocean, but it's got lots of different waves in it, and they're all different in some way, shape, or form. Anyway, the rest is from Reverend Kris, who says, vulnerability. Anyone else have that immediate reaction, or is it just me? It's not that I don't see the value of vulnerability. I do. It's just that sometimes I'd rather not. Choosing to show up vulnerably, to bring our whole heart to a situation, and to be willing to be hurt in the name of staying open can be exhausting. Yet, the benefits greatly outweigh the drawbacks. Yes, it is more work. Yes, it can be tiring. Yes, it takes great courage. Absolutely. But in doing so, we allow ourselves to show up with authenticity. No, my computer is, oh, my mouse. Anyway. But in doing so, we allow ourselves to show up with authenticity, creating brave and safe spaces for connection and for wholehearted living. Isn't that what life is all about? We often spend so much time armoring ourselves against the difficult parts of life, yet we honor and feel compassion when someone else shows up in their vulnerability. I see it often in New Thought. We've decided somehow that these teachings mean we can force our lives to always be good, that we can avoid any heartbreak, challenges, or hurt with the power of our thoughts. But it doesn't work that way. Life happens, good, bad, and everything in between. Our job isn't to always be positive and avoid the messy parts. Our job is to show up to all of it with courage, perspective, and love. Let's embrace our vulnerability and let it be a bridge to deeper connections and richer experiences In our openness, we find true strength and authentic living. I don't know about you, but yeah, obviously, I think vulnerability is, well, it's obviously not very easy because it means that we're opening ourselves up to attack. We're opening ourselves up to people perceiving us less than they might have thought we were before we actually became vulnerable. But it is true that when we open ourselves to vulnerability, we also open ourselves to growth, which is also a good thing. Now, that doesn't mean to say that we go around and we try and open ourselves up everywhere. No, you've got to be careful about this. You've got to be careful about the places and the times when you are open and vulnerable, because obviously there are times when it's not safe to do so. So we have to apply some common sense to this. And it's not just I'm open and vulnerable all the time. No, it doesn't work like that, because it isn't safe to do that. But we, through our intuition and our knowingness, can know when it's safe to be vulnerable. And I think that's a pretty good thing. The affirmation she gives us is, it's not a yawn. I choose to bring my whole heart to every situation, knowing that vulnerability fosters brave and safe spaces for others to be authentic. So in other words, when I open myself to be authentic and vulnerable, then there's a good chance that you will do the same. So this is one of those things that's simple to look at, but it's not real easy to do. And I don't really think it needs a lot more explanation, does it? I mean, it's pretty obvious. As Brené Brown said, we kind of look at it when somebody else is vulnerable, we think, wow, how could they do that? And then if we think about ourselves being vulnerable, we think it's a weakness. But of course it isn't. Bottom line is, if I can accept me as I am, it's easy for me to show up as I am. And if I truly can accept me as I am, then it's much easier to accept you as you are, and not who I think you are, or even more, how I think you should be. You are as you are, and I am as I am, because everything is interconnected. So that's really all I got to say. Quick reminder, Reverend Lisa will be on tomorrow about 9:15. Our service is tomorrow at 11. Reverend Jesse will be speaking again. And I must admit, last week his talk was down to earth. Sometimes he can get a little bit up there in the clouds, but his talk was very down to earth last week. And I'm knowing that the talk tomorrow will be perfect for whoever is watching it, either in person in the room, in person online, or watching it later in the week. And it's amazing, actually, how many people now after COVID watch recordings of things and not the original thing. I think people miss out when they do that. Sometimes it's impossible to avoid that, but I think they miss out. Why? Because you've got a chance to react, at least within yourself, when things happen. And if you watch our service online, even, you can react, you can respond. There's a place you can put comments down there. You can also join a Zoom watch party where you can actually comment with other people, while the service is going on. So it's a worthwhile thing to do. So I am going to sign off now. I hope everyone is having a good day. If you're not and you need prayer, you need help, let us know. That's what we're here for. And I keep reminding you, Reverend Lisa is always reminding people that self-care is incredibly important, which it is. It's the foundation for everything. But also reaching out when you need to. One way you can be vulnerable is to reach out when you need help. How many times in the past have you and I just sucked it up and not done anything about something, not asked for help, and it's not been a good outcome? So yes, it takes vulnerability sometimes to ask for help, but that's also good, right? So if you need help, reach out. Remember, when you reach out to a minister or a practitioner, everything is confidential. We'll not repeat anything unless you ask us to do or give us permission to do. So with that, I'm going to say, have a good rest of the day, whenever that turns out to be. Namaste.